It's time for Did You Watch It?
How does this show work? We watch what we like, we talk about what we watch, and maybe you'll like what you hear. I'm Liz.
I'm Isabel.
And I'm Neil.
Last night we watched episode 7 of The Amazing Race, season 25. The show aired on Friday, November 7th, 2014. Here's what we thought about it.
We have a start date for The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills.
Finally.
Yes!
Tuesday, November 18th.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my
At
gosh.
9 p.m., I believe.
Gotcha.
And if Shaws of Sunset ever decides to get into post-production.
Well, they are in the process of getting that done, aren't they?
Yes.
All right, so we are on leg 300 of The Amazing Race.
Yeah, this was pretty cool to hear it like that.
I know, and I tried to look for similar landmarks and milestones for us. Couldn't find any.
No.
Really?
Couldn't find any. You know, it's like we had just missed 300 days of Did You Watch It by like about a week and a half, you know.
Aw, man.
And this is like show number 62.
Oh, gosh.
We're a young operation here, so...
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Let's wait till we get to 100.
So we're down to 6 teams.
Yes.
And we're in Marrakesh.
We're still in Marrakesh.
We're still in Marrakesh, but not for long.
I know, but doesn't it seem like we've been in Marrakesh for like 6 months? I feel like we've been in Marrakesh forever.
Well, it hasn't really been forever because, you know, I'm telling you, I'm all for Marrakesh. India with a Swiffer. I'm just saying. This leg, the 6 remaining teams have to travel to Teatro di Verdura in Palermo, Sicily.
Yes! Italy! Yes!
All right. We find out a little bit about our resident tooth fairies. We find out, stop the eye roll. I saw the eye roll. Okay.
Do we have to find out a little more about
Briefly,
them?
just briefly.
Yes.
We find out that they've been together for 16 years and they've been married for 9 of those years.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Because Jim was too busy working on his biceps to put a ring on it.
High five, Liz.
He had to wait to get all 20 veneers done before
Stop it.
he put a ring on it.
So, cyclists and the Tooth Fairies arrived in Palermo at 8 p.m. the following day,
Right.
while the remaining teams, the surfers, the sweethearts, the wrestlers, and the candy girls, arrived at 8:40.
I will say we saw a slightly different side of Jim, the softer side of Jim.
At points, yeah.
Here we go. So, once they arrive at Il Teatro,
Izzy, I'm so glad you're here, by the way. Can I just say that?
they have to grab a tambourine with a marked departure time. Mm-hmm. In the meanwhile, they get to relax for the rest of the evening and enjoy the tarantella with the locals.
Da-da-da.
They did. And it looked like a ton of fun.
Ton of fun.
And everybody was having fun except
Yes.
one person.
Who was not having fun?
Jim wasn't having fun. He was like, not at all. No, not at all.
Neil, the look on your face. Priceless.
Yeah, I know. It's fatigue. This was a good leg. At least this was a good start of a leg because we actually start to examine the dynamic between the Tooth Fairies and cyclists.
With Kim and Allie, yeah.
Yeah, the cyclists basically said that they hated the Tooth Fairies because they just figured Jim was not all up into them and they think that they didn't like them, you know. And so later on, Jim basically says that they hadn't bonded with Kim and Allie the way that they had with some of the other teams. Mm-hmm. Now, I started reading Quiet, The Power of Introverts in a World That Can't Stop Talking.
Okay.
Okay? And it gave me a new appreciation for exactly what we're seeing on the screen as it relates to the Tooth Fairies.
All
The
right.
cyclists, high energy, very outgoing.
Absolutely.
Tooth Fairies are definitely more grounded, centered. Could the issue just be a simple difference between extroverted cyclists and introverted Tooth Fairies?
Potentially. Well, my interpretation, he's just a very intense individual.
Okay.
Can you tell by his eyes? And I love Kim and Allie's impression of Jim. You know, she had her eyes kind of like popping out and just... I was laughing. But what kind of weirds me out about Jim is the eyes, the very intense stare. You know, he does remind me of Sam the Eagle, that Muppet.
Oh, okay.
Right? They're just very,
Very stoic.
yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. Sam the Eagle. Yeah.
So once they got their tambourine, they had to travel to Via Costanza.
What'd you think of the wrestlers when Brooke was asking where Palermo, Sicily was?
I have a whole line on the wrestlers. Well, okay, so when Brooke didn't know where Sicily was, I thought to myself, really? You don't know where Sicily is? You don't know, you've never heard the term Sicilian anything? And then they continued to talk about tanning and eyebrow threading and how Robbie was so upset that he's lost about half of an ab right now. So he's really torn up about it.
Yeah.
And that he just wants pizza. Because he's in Italy, and that's the only thing about Italy that he can even put together is the fact that there's pizza there.
Mensa man.
Yeah. Well, and I'm thinking, okay, so he just really admitted to eyebrow threading as a guy on national TV.
They had to get cabs in order to get to the Via. And the wrestlers, man, once again, having trouble. This is just like a recurrent theme with them. 40 minutes from the time that they left the teatro, that's how long it took them to get a cab. And it's like, really? Note to Brooke, in The Amazing Race, taxis will not kill you.
No.
However, standing in one place for almost 40 minutes that is not marked taxi stop will.
That was my thought. Why didn't they just walk to a busy street?
Yeah.
I don't know if this relates to Sicily, but I do know that in Italy, most cabs won't stop if you hail them down. You have to call for them, or you have to go to a taxi stand.
See, there you
but
go.
there's taxi stands everywhere.
Well, yeah, so apparently they couldn't find them, so...
And we really don't know what the situation is in Palermo. However, if they were having such trouble, they could have just waited 10 minutes for the other teams to get released from the teatro, and then they all could just hunt and peck and try and find a damn
Figured
cab.
it out together, but just to sit there...
Come on, wrestlers, get it together.
I know. I didn't understand that at all, yeah.
So once they got to the Via Costanza, then there was a roadblock. And what they had to do is they had to ride go-karts up Mount Pellegrino.
That looks like so much fun!
It was awesome!
Oh, yeah.
I feel like I died and went to heaven because they're racing, and they're racing in Italy. Yay!
Well, there you go.
And then they get to ride a vintage car after. It was fabulous.
Yes. The goal was they had to finish the course in under 4 minutes and 7 seconds.
Put the pedal to the metal.
Tooth Fairies and the cyclists, they started, and of course, you know, you had Jim and Kim. They're both equally competitive, which is very nice, and it made for a very interesting race.
They were awesome together.
Yes, they were.
Loved
Yes, they
watching
were.
them and listening to them.
Did you like the bonding that occurred?
I did. I loved that Kim was so excited.
Once they got past their differences, it was all about just camaraderie and just
and competition.
Friendly competition.
Well, I do find it funny that Jim thought the cyclists were standoffish. He did say that earlier in the episode.
But that's a common misconception when you're dealing with different personality types. It happens.
I guess it happens.
So Maya got out third, and she had a heat to herself because apparently they started the heats every 20 minutes.
Right.
So she took her first trip up solo and didn't make it the first time.
Right.
There was nobody basically pushing her to
I
get
know,
up
but
the
if
hill.
you were on that road by yourself, wouldn't you have just floored it?
Well, you are a lead foot. So,
I would have.
so
I
that wouldn't
thought
be
to
a
myself,
problem for you.
Girl,
here.
are you like in a 25 mile per hour zone? Like, what's going on here? Flip
Yeah.
it! Go!
Not everyone has Formula One in their blood like
Oh
you.
my gosh.
So she had to come back down to the bottom and wait for the next heat. But fortunately, the other three teams had arrived and were basically waiting for their start. Maya had come in and was able to make it in time to join them.
Which was awesome.
Which is
It
good.
wasn't that big of a
Yeah,
problem
it was
for
cool.
her. Okay, so we noticed that Brooke had decided to do the race. And of course, this is no problem for her since she's a part-time adrenaline junkie of her own.
I'm surprised she didn't try to, like, flip the go-kart and, you know...
And give it an elbow
And-
or
Yeah,
anything like
exactly.
that,
Right.
which is good because I think it would have hurt.
Maybe.
Oh my
But I
gosh.
also thought it was very humorous because all four of them on their heat, they all got in under the 4 minutes and 7
They
seconds.
sure did.
They did.
She was the first one to cross the line, but she was the last one down the hill.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was. Once again, proving that it's anyone's game, right?
Yes. It always is.
And the fact that she was cheering when Maya had to redo it, I thought to myself, okay, it's kind of the karma thing again, right?
It is.
She's first, but she's last.
But yeah, note to Brooke, you really got a problem with trying to piss off the people that are driving you places.
I know.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay? Don't be making faces at the dude who is taking you down the hill in his car.
Exactly.
Because you don't think he's driving fast enough.
Seriously, I just
See?
was like, really, Brooke? This guy is doing you a favor. Just cut him a break. She was the biggest knob on this leg of the race, by the way.
No kidding.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Hands down.
Tooth Fairies finished first, the cyclists came in second, and the surfers finished third. When they finished the race, they got their clue and they had to do their detour. Now, in the detour, they had the choice between painters and posers. In painters, teams had to restore a ceiling fresco while lying on their backs, Michelangelo-style.
Absolutely.
Yes. And then in posers, the teams had to travel to Teatro Politeama Garibaldi. Thank you very much. Where they would listen to 10 costumed opera singers, each singing a different operatic selection.
Right.
Then they would go into another room where they had to match the costume to the opera where the selection came from and write them down.
And the order that they appeared.
Okay. I'm going to tell you right now, Phil explained this detour lousy.
Yeah, because I was a little confused by how they were going to figure out. I was like, were they given some sort of clue?
Thank you, because the image that came into my head was that these people were just going to march out one at a time, and they were going to sing like a bar's worth of an aria or whatever. But no, they all came out in a line, 10 across, and they all sang like 3 seconds of these pieces. It had nothing to do with the music, had nothing to do with the opera. It was all about the costumes.
And nobody knew that going into it.
Yeah.
No, which is why they all wanted paint.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Okay? Me, I'd have done posers.
Of course.
It's musical, first of all. So that's my saving grace. And paint, it's hot. And heat rises.
Yep.
And I'm not lying on my back having paint dripping in
your
no
eyes.
orifice of mine.
Exactly.
Because I just can't be dealing with that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
I'm just saying.
And the opera was beautiful, by the way.
Oh, the opera, absolutely.
The
it
opera,
was.
yeah,
It
totally.
was. Once again, gotta go to Italy.
Yes! When are we going?
They won't let me fly for free. So the Tooth Fairies and the cyclists chose painters. Okay? I don't know why, but that's what they did. Probably because they couldn't understand Phil's description of the clue any damn way either.
Well, you know why they picked it. Because they're meticulous and work with their hands. And they have
Tooth
such
Fairies.
great attention to detail.
Yes, exactly. There you go.
Well said, Liz. Well said.
Moving right along.
Right?
When the last 4 teams came off the race, we found out that there was a 4-team limit for painters.
Right.
So it literally became a race between the Candy Girls, the Surfers, and the Sweethearts as to who was going to get those last 2 spots. So once they got to the building where they had to do the painting, the Candy Girls, the Surfers, and the Sweethearts entered the building in that order. But every single one of them overshot the entrance to the attic area.
Right. The priest was pointing them in that direction.
Right. So the priest is like he's pointing and said, no, it's over there. So everybody turned around and they basically reversed the order.
Right.
Once they got up to the tarps and the scaffolds.
Scaffolding, yeah.
So the Candy Girls got bumped and they had to go do posers.
Okay, granted, that painting task was really hard and really hot. But I must say, the sweating conversation between Jim and Misty and Kim and Allie
that was hilarious.
Was the funniest thing from this episode. Hands down.
I agree.
Right?
I agree.
I was
completely
rolling.
agree.
It was too funny.
There you go.
So yeah.
I'm sensing a bond here. I'm just sensing a bond. That's me.
I'm just saying, I love the fact that they're competitive with each other, but there seems to be this camaraderie.
Yes, they're still keeping it friendly.
Yeah. I think Kim is bringing that out in Jim.
And sometimes that's what's required. You know, you have to have the extrovert bring it down a little bit so that the introvert can elevate a little bit and everybody stays comfortable.
Come out of his shell.
Thank you, Susan Kane. I'm learning a lot from this book.
Yes. But the glisten comment cracked me up. And just the deadpan way that Allie said it. I guess Misty said something like, I don't really sweat. And Allie's like, she just glistens.
Exactly.
Wait, what did she say? Let me rewind that.
I think Kim was like, yeah, and I sweat.
Yeah.
I thought it was very interesting that the wrestlers and the Candy Girls decided to work together on posers.
They did, but they didn't. I was so confused by this. Because when they were supposedly working together, I mean, wouldn't you, since there are 4 of them, wouldn't you have gone in and said, okay, you look at the first 2 people, you look at the second 2, you look at the third 2, you know what I mean? Because they already knew what the challenge was going to be.
Well, it seemed like the Candy Girls had that system kind of set up. Remember? Where they're like, okay, do you remember the first one? I remember the second one. Do you remember the third? They kind of set it up. Whereas the wrestlers didn't even think to do that at all. I had to laugh at Brooke's expression when they started showing all the singers, and she's just, what?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes. And, of course, Robbie's opera imitation.
Oh, in the car, yeah.
Oh, Lord.
I felt bad for the cab driver.
Now, see, the wrestlers could have been out of there if they had just finished writing that, because they left the selection out of one of the pieces or the opera.
Right.
I can't remember what. It was incomplete. Mm-hmm. And she said it was incomplete. And it's like, just go down the list and say, oh, there's a blank. Why is there a blank? There shouldn't be a blank. Go fill in that blank. But once again, we're dealing with Mensa Man here.
Of course.
Brooke and Robbie were so overwhelmed. It's like, oh my God, I don't know what they said. I don't understand. What is this supposed to be?
It wasn't until they got to the other room and then they figured,
oh, it's just about what they're wearing.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
And even then it was challenging.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Once they finished with the detour, then they were told that they had to go to Via Niscemi to the pit stop. And on the way to the pit stop, Kim basically said, the one thing I appreciate about Jim is he is competitive. And I am extremely competitive.
Yeah, they're a good match to kind of go neck and neck.
I'm telling you, these two, I see them going far.
I do too. I think it's going to be fun getting down to it.
And it's going to be a fun, nice race.
Yes.
Just say.
It's going to get competitive.
Totally.
Yes, but in a good way. Not like the stinky Brendan and Rachel way, you see.
Oh, yeah.
That's true.
Where people are stealing taxis because they want to breed.
Oh, brother.
I mean, come on now. Let's not go there.
Yeah,
Very
let's
true.
let's not. I was actually enjoying this episode. Let's not go
Yeah,
there.
even though I went there by myself without provocation, let's not go there.
Yes.
The Tooth Fairies finished the leg. They came in first. Travelocity is sending them to Ocho Rios, Jamaica.
Yes.
Yeah, man. So the cyclists came in second and the Candy Girls came in third. The Sweethearts rolled in last, but this was a non-elimination leg, which I'm sure made Liz extremely happy.
Seriously, when this happened, I literally put my hands in the air and squealed when he said it's a non-elimination round because I just was so sad to think that they were going home.
Yes, I know. And you know that Sophie is feeling exactly the same way.
Really?
Yes.
She's a fan.
She is huge Sweethearts fan.
Wow. Awesome.
Yeah, just for your edification.
Okay. Thanks.
Liz, are you fans of the Sweethearts because they're uber cute?
I'm fans of the Sweethearts because I can totally relate to their train wreckedness.
Okay.
And they're uber cute together. There's just so much I find endearing about them.
It doesn't hurt that they're the home team.
Exactly. They're the home
That's
team.
true.
The Pasadena Roses.
Exactly.
Yay!
What?
So we find out that in 2 weeks, since there's no Amazing Race next week, the teams will go to Malta.
Oh, Malta,
Nice.
yes. I don't think they've ever been there before, have they?
I don't know if they have. I had to look it up because I didn't know exactly where Malta was.
Close to Italy.
It's an island that is 50 miles south of Sicily, which would be very nice. So, since there's an opening next week and the fall season is a couple of months old now,
Yeah.
I think it might be time for another one of our Talking About the TV episodes.
Ooh, there's so many good shows right now.
What we did last time, the Amazing Race took a week off, is Liz and I just talked about the stuff that we're watching.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Just a general. So,
Cool.
of course, since you are a Did You Watch It host, you're absolutely welcome to join
right.
us to
Let's do it.
share your experiences, what we're watching, what we're streaming.
I'm certainly down for the conversation.
It's
There you
super
go.
fun, Izzy. If you want to go back and kind of get a feel for what we did, the episode is still posted, so.
Okay.
Yeah, look back. It's around June.
But hey,
And it's like-
I'll only do it if it's uber fun.
It's uber fun.
Super, super cute, uber fun.
That's our time for today. You can follow us on Twitter at @did_watch_it. You can also find us at iTunes. Let us know what you think. Thank you for listening.